If I told you that there was one drill that you could be doing to fix multiple problems in your swing, such as early extension, excessive hip thrust, and getting stuck on the downswing, you'd likely think that that sounds too good to be true. However, there is such a drill. Today, I'm going to share the drill with you. It's called the BOWLER drill, and it's being used by the #1 player in the world every single time he swings. Many of you will be familiar with the trademark footwork of Scottie Scheffler, the world #1 golfer who utilizes many of the benefits of this BOWLER drill every single time he plays. But this drill is by no means new. Stack&Tilt have been talking about the BOWLER drill for more than 10 years. But recently, if you've been paying attention, you'll notice that there's more and more players utilizing this drill on the driving range and even on the course in their pre-shot routine. The reason for that is this drill has so many benefits, fixing multiple problems all in one go. And if you can find a drill that does that, then it's going to be in most players' interests to start using it. So let me show you the BOWLER drill and share with you the benefits that so many players are seeing as they now implement this into their practice. The BOWLER drill derives its name from the concept of bowling the ball down the alley, down the lane. When you go 10-pin bowling, you watch the bowler release the ball, you'll see how their trail leg moves backwards. That concept exists across other sports as well. You'll see it in baseball when players are hitting, that there's a stalling or a slowing down of the lower body in order to transfer the momentum into the upper body. The same applies to golf. There's been discussions in recent years how we're supposed to spin open with the lower body and twist the hips, keeping the arms pinned to our torso. That's caused a number of problems, particularly for high-level players, but I see it in many amateur golfers on a daily basis as well. The poor sequencing of how the club and arms move from the body in the downswing is a real problem in golf. The BOWLER drill helps to fix that in a very simple way by pinning the trail hip back and helping the upper body and the arms to unload and sequence more correctly. So the BOWLER drill and the movement that you'll see Scottie Scheffler making when he swings discusses and describes how this trail leg is staying back in order to slow down the hips and transfer the momentum from the body out to the club. So this doesn't just help you hit the ball better, it helps you to hit the ball further as well. As I've said already, the benefits of this drill are multiple. By having the foot back, you really reduce the likelihood of the golfer early extending. One of the biggest issues I see in golfers' downswings would be the right leg tending to flex too quickly, raising the right heel from the ground, and the right hip getting towards the ball. This thrusting, causing this early extension, is a real problem among the golfing masses. Having the hip and the foot back helps to reduce that thrust and encourages the upper body to start to move correctly. Really what this is doing is it's helping the golfer to keep the upper body turning through the ball, get the shoulders to keep turning past the hips, as opposed to a huge problem that I see many golfers having, which is the hips getting too far forward and the head tipping back. If you struggle with this look in your swing and you have excessive side bend in your downswing, you're going to struggle tremendously with consistent contact. The more that you start to tip back in the downswing, the more the low point of your swing is going to move behind the ball. You'll be more prone to hitting fat shots and thin shots. The other tendency with this movement would be to produce a swing direction that's too far to the right for a right-handed golfer. That would produce pushes and hooks typically, although you can also push slice with that swing path. And the outcome of that would always be a higher exit. So if you're someone who notices that their follow through is quite high, that would be associated with a similar swing direction. The BOWLER drill can help you to fix all of those issues in one simple drill. So the first thing to do if you want to try this is to pull the trail foot back. Set up with your trail foot pulled back somewhere between the midpoint and the heel of your lead foot. So we're pulling the foot back, we're closing the stance line effectively. That's helping to preset this hip a little further back as well. And if you only thought about the foot itself, you could try this exercise just from this position, hitting balls, trying to keep the foot down for as long as possible. So trying to keep the trail foot on the ground and the trail leg as straight or as extended as possible. If you do that, you're not able to thrust towards the ball, and then you have to use the upper body to turn and keep tracing the correct swing arc. This helps to straighten your swing direction and massively improves your ability to hit straighter shots. So although you've got a stance that isn't aimed directly at the target, this helps to aim and direct your swing more at the target. It's why so many players actually play with this stance, myself included. If you've ever watched any of the swing vlogs or even me hitting balls during these videos, you'll often notice, and there's even comments referring to the same thing, asking me if my stance is slightly closed. I particularly do this with the driver. But that's true. The observant among you will have noticed that I play with a slightly closed stance. There's many other players that do that as well because the benefits of this exercise are so high. So pull the foot back, even flare it out a little bit more. I'm pointing it back towards the camera slightly more. Once again, flaring the foot out in this direction reduces the likelihood of the foot being able to move in or the knee being able to kick in. So keeping the foot more flared out, keeping the knee pointing back towards the camera a little bit more, is another way to just quieten down this trail hip and keep my pelvis from thrusting towards the ball. So I've got my setup, I've got my foot pulled back and turned out. I'm going to hit this shot, just trying to keep this trail leg straight and keep it down on the ground for longer. That felt really solid, extremely straight ball flight. Extremely straight, felt really nice, and I kept my foot down. So what it does is, as I'm swinging down towards the ball, because my pelvis can't thrust towards the target, it actually makes me move my upper body in a very effective way. Particularly allows me to keep turning my lead shoulder past the ball, past my hips. My shoulders, my shoulder turn goes past my hip turn. And that would be the direct opposite of this golfer who thrusts the hips too much, where the shoulders are closed and the hips are beginning to open. There's a lot of discussion about opening the hips to create power, thrusting or opening the hips to start the downswing, and that concept often leads to a golfer overdoing this piece with the tipping back that I've already described, which throws the club behind the golfer, they get stuck, and then they're into this position where they're either going to hit a huge block or push to the right, or they then flip the wrist through impact and hit this massive hook, an enormous two-way miss that's not very playable. The bowler drill takes care of all of those problems. As I say, it helps me to swing on a much straighter swing direction. That helps me to hit the ball as straight as that last shot that you just saw. It's really easy to implement, and it's something that you can also play with. So I said that step one here was to pull the foot back, turn the trail foot out, and for many of you, that adjustment in itself will be enough for you to start seeing the benefits of doing this drill. Others may require a little bit more information. So the second step would be to practice turning your shoulders past your pelvis, meaning as I swing down, I'm trying to keep turning my shoulders even while I keep my hips more closed. That's really the movement you're seeing in Scottie Scheffler's swing. It's very obvious in his swing, but it happens in many great players' swing. Rory McIlroy has this move, Tiger Woods had it, Greg Norman all those years ago used to have a small hip slide backwards or a foot slide backwards away from the ball. Really what that's doing is it's slowing down the hip movement and allowing the power to transfer up the chain to the body. So the quietening down of the hips is to allow the shoulders to keep turning. So that's the second step. If you need a feel for this when you're actually hitting the ball, you've got the foot pulled back. Now try to make sure you get the trail shoulder forwards. I'll feel like I'm almost hitting the ball with my trail shoulder. That's the feeling I have of impact, as opposed to letting this trail shoulder get stuck behind me. As we said, that's the tipping back. That's the golfer getting stuck in the downswing. So step one, foot pulled back and turned out. Step two, trail shoulder forward. Feel like I'm hitting the ball with that trail shoulder. Another nicely struck shot. For me, this is a great feel because I am one of those golfers who certainly struggles with the problem of having my swing direction get too far to the right. I hit those pushes and overdraws sometimes in my swing. And this actually gives me the feeling, if anything, that I'm swinging more to the left and going to hit some fades. In fact, the first ball I hit did fade. That second one was a little bit more of a pull, but I really felt like I got my upper body covering the ball, which is a nice sensation for me when I'm hitting. The third part of this drill is to keep bringing this exit down. So helping you to get the arms to come more around the body, really conforming to the grid. We've got the grid drawn on the mat here using the T-claw. That's a picture you'll have seen in many of my videos, and really this is the visual guidance for you, the golfer, as to how the club and the hands orbit the body, both in the backswing and the downswing, but also in the follow through. If you struggle with the problems I've identified in this video, caused by the tipping back and the club getting stuck, you're going to see a hand path and a club path where the exit gets off the grid and goes too far to the right, as we've already discussed. So the final part of this exercise with the bowler, once we've got the foot back and the shoulders moving and turning past the hips, is to keep the arms down in the follow through. This really helps to lower the exit and helps you to control the direction of your ball. I'd recommend this last part of the drill, particularly for those of you who have extremely high exits. Place a towel or something similar under your arms as you swing, and then incorporate the rest of the bowler setup. So the foot back and turned out, and then the feeling of keeping the towel squeezed under my arms is going to help me to keep tracing the grid on the front side. So this is really just the same as the last swing, with the added piece of the arms being more connected to my body. This is going to help the golfer who has an exit that's too high and swings too far to the right. So you should start to see the hands and the club coming out and exiting much, much lower. That would be a good thing for you if you struggle with this being stuck, swinging excessively high with this early extension. So this is the final part of the drill. Step 3 is to keep the arms down on the body in the follow through. Foot back and turned out. Leg's going to stay straight. My feel is that my trail shoulder is going to turn past the ball, past my hips, and I'm going to keep squeezing this towel under my arms. That one felt the straightest of all. Tiny little draw. Really nice contact. I really don't feel like I'm going to hit it too far offline whenever I practice this exercise, and that's why I take this with me to the golf course. I play like this, and you could too. There's nothing to stop you from playing with this drill if you start to see the benefits that it could bring to your golf game. So that's the bowler drill. That's what Scottie Scheffler is doing every single time he swings. I think if it's good enough for the best player in the world, who is right now the best ball striker in the world by some distance, then it's probably good enough for you. So now you know what the bowler drill is and exactly how to implement that into your practice. And I hope you start seeing the benefits very quickly. You'll soon start to recognize why so many of the best players in the world are incorporating the bowler drill into their practice and to their pre-shot routine on the golf course. If you enjoyed the video today, guys, I would love for you to hit that like button. It really helps me to see how much you enjoy the video, and it gets the video seen by more people. And if you're new to the channel, I'd love for you to subscribe as well. If you're new to Stack&Tilt and you're interested in finding out more about the Stack&Tilt golf swing, then you can check the link down in the description, which will take you to the website. And if you'd like more Stack&Tilt drills, there's a playlist on this channel that you can enjoy as well. Throughout the video today, I mentioned that this drill has multiple benefits, and one of which I didn't mention was that having the trail leg pulled back actually helps you to keep your weight more forward throughout the swing. If you'd like to learn more about the benefits of keeping the weight more forward throughout the swing, then you can go and check out these videos here on the wrench drill. I've got one for the irons and one for the driver.